Thanks to the sales funnel.
We're not going to get to the sales funnel. I told you. Chamber of Commerce, alumni, a National Association of Bedpans. I mean, there are 500 lists for every industry. All the big four write this, studies. The World Bank's got a fucking study on assisted living for Europe. The International Monetary Fund, Bank of America, HSBC, Barclays. That's where. The Chamber of fucking Commerce. The Mayor's Office of Toledo. The Mayor's Office of Bozeman, Montana. All have economic studies. And you're going to get this. This is your due diligence list, which is compiled by one of the kids, one of you, at the first hardcore. And it's very good. That's why I include it. But it's the 100 questions. Your due diligence questions. Not your lawyers, not your accountant's firm, not your in-house lawyer, not your in-house accountant, not your chairman, not your CEO, yours. And if these questions aren't answered by all the above that I just mentioned, something's not right. Now, so you don't give it to your fucking lawyer. Now, are you going to answer? Because every lawyer's got a DD list himself. If his isn't reasonably the same as this, then something's not right. If the lawyer's not asking these questions, something's not right. If your law firm's not asking these kind of questions, something's not right. If your fucking meathead chairman's not asking it, something's not right. But you got to open it up. You got to hit the fucking link. And you got to go, did they ask this question? But you're going to have the basis. Most of you are just going to send it to your board and say, and then you're never going to know if the board's worth the shit. Because you don't want to take the time to, well, is this question asked? 50, 60, 70%, he said he broke up with whoever he broke up with. That's what happens. And he had the unfortunate situation when he's working with her. But I've seen stranger. You know. Half of you are 39 years old, living at home, and you got to take turns. Your parents fuck night, you fuck another night. What the fuck? I mean, what kind of life's that anyway? Or you got to wait till they go out to dinner. Or you got to wait. What kind of, you might want, where's the fucking gun? God damn it.
At least I'm still farting.
Yeah. And then you get, these are some preliminary questions. These are, and you get all these templates about that you ask the banks. What's your personal investment list? I'm not going to go through all these questions, but what's your personal investment list, personal investment lending limit, etc. And half the questions you're going to ask, they don't know, they don't have a clue. And I already told you, and I'm not exaggerating. They'll start sweating and getting nervous. Some of them will even cancel the meeting, stop the meeting right there, and say, "I just remembered I've got another meeting," and get up and leave. And you'll sit there with your thumb up your ass, and you take your thumb from your ass to your mouth, and you just sit there. Oh. I wonder what I should do now. Yeah, and then you'll fucking tweet Kim, "I got an emergency," with your what? You got an with your two dirty thumbs. You got an emergency. and that's not an emergency. I mean, you got all the questions you need. The challenge is when they can't answer the questions, and then how do you ascertain? And then it's you got to practice trial and error. Some of you think, well, if they don't have the answers, that's better. Maybe I'll be able to get the money easier. It's wrong. They got to have the answers because they've got to be able to put your credit, your story, to the credit committee. And so it's got to be cogent enough, with enough of the information for them, him, her, whoever, to get it approved. So you can't wishy-washy. You can't slip it by them. You can't fool them, because somebody in the credit process is going to know what they're doing and is going to want the answers to these questions. And then but I mean, some of the kids will get so frustrated, not you kids, but the kids that are sitting on the other side of the banker's desk will get so bloody frustrated that they'll just get up and leave. They'll remember another appointment they have. But I mean, Chris, I'm thankful that he was able to talk to us, but he's just a regular guy. A young guy, 31, he's older than some of the kids, but I mean, he's just a regular guy. And he got out of the seminar in April and closed it there, and now he's, hopefully not forever, but for at least the next period of time, he's in the 40 below zero part of the United States. But he wrote in his weekly report, I'm on my way to Walmart from this place to buy some supplies, and it's 40 below zero without the wind chill. And I've been at 40 below without wind chill, so but he got his deal closed. And I had forgotten that he paid he actually paid $400,000 or $500,000, $380,000 or whatever it was, and then so it wasn't the dollar. But I mean, look at how he structured the owner finance, how far he could put it out, and that's good. And that's good that he structured around what her ability was to survive on a monthly basis. The payments he structured so the payments were about the same as what she thought she needed to supplement her retirement income, which is smart. And maybe that his background from selling property allowed him to do that. Anything else on Chris? Not like the deal that we looked at on the slide, but pretty typical. But the thing I was thinking about it today, that the thing that's the norm now is we're using less and less commercial finance. So not only are we not using equity, which isn't equity, okay, we're using less and less commercial finance, meaning commercial banks, regular, what they call high street banks in this country, because the people are desperate to sell these things. Contrary to the myth that but I mean, most of the world has suffered from or suffered under or been misguided.
Last year in the UK, I think only 6% of businesses up for sale got sold because the baby boomers want to offload, but the millennials don't want to buy. They don't want assets.
Well, I mean, plus, 95% of companies worldwide don't sell anyway. But now it's been exacerbated because the millennials don't, just like the new monopoly. There is no property in the new monopoly. So there's going to be 40 billion millennials between now and I think 2030.
4 billion?
40 billion. 40. No.
4.
No, 4. Excuse me. Yeah, 4. Not 40. 4. I mean, living at home.
They don't want the properties because it equals work.
Yeah, well, that's a part of it. Yeah, so I mean, we're at the right place at the right time, guys, gals. It's that simple. It's that simple. Okay. These are some more. You see what value? Well, anyway, these are just more questions. Now, on the bottom of your weekly report, you have what the current world record, if you will, is for doing stuff. This is this was for an LOI and not a deal. The current record for a deal is 117 days, what just happened, and that email was sent out to all the active mentees, which he said. But on the bottom, so you can measure yourself against how long does it take you to get a chairman? How long does it take you to get the full dream team? How long does it take you to get an accounting firm, law? How long does it take you or do you spend romancing institutions? Days to the first deal, finding the first deal, days to the first letter of intent, okay? Days to the close. And so when you're filling out the weekly report, all these 70-some questions, and you can go down to the bottom and, you're on day 38 and you haven't done shit. And so on day 38, you ought to be, for this one, you ought to be something 3 days short of a full dream team. And it's a good benchmark. But I will also send up updates whenever the kids break a record or set a new record of some sort. I'll send it out to you. And I don't break it down. IT is rated against healthcare, is rated against manufacturing. They're all the same. They're all the same, irrespective of. There are some nuances, quite a few nuances between IT and healthcare, for example. I have always stayed away from manufacturing because manufacturing, the margins are thin and you really got to know what you're doing. I've stayed away from retail because the margins are thin and you got to know what you're doing. So there are no 20, 40% retail margins. There's no 20 or 40% manufacturing margins. These are in the single digit. And and retail includes, Tesco, etc., and I stay away from restaurants because thin margins and you really got to know what you're doing. And a crazy chef can bankrupt you overnight, so I've been through those scenarios. And so remember, we're looking for 20 to 40% margins on the upside and no less than 15% margins, even with that's gross margin, not net margin, okay, because of the interest rates are so low. Now, if a miracle or a reverse miracle or a bad thing happens and interest rates go up 500 basis points, in other words, instead of getting bank rates at between 5 and 6.5, we're going to get them between 10 and 11.5, then the debt coverage is going to have to be increased because the banks are going to realize that the deal is thinner on the profit end, and that means there can be less mistake on the management end. And at least until you do your first 1, 2, or 3 deals, your management team, even when it's got 200 years of experience, is going to be new. And until you can say you've done a deal as a group, it's going to be new. But as soon as you do 2 or 3 deals, then I'm not saying the bank turns a blind eye. I don't mean that at all. But the bank, the more deals you do, the more comfortable. And then the point will come to, you call the bank and you give them the general parameters, and they say, based on the parameters you've given me, I'll get you a term sheet in 48 hours, without looking at the numbers. And the term sheet will be subject to verification that the numbers you send. And then that eliminates a whole bunch of time, a whole bunch of meetings, a whole bunch of Skype, Zoom calls, and then you just crank them through. And that does happen. And for some of the kids, like Marcus Bauer, he gets deals just funded over the phone. He did 19 deals, I think, last year, And so he's been at this better part of 10 years now. So they just assume that he's not going to deviate, and that doesn't mean because the bank is lowering its standards. It just means they're willing to wait subject to them being verified, but that verification process can take weeks. So they want to get the loan process going, because even a quick loan takes 2 or 3 weeks to get through the credit committee. And then it just, as Sally would say, then it becomes fun. And you heard him say, and then it was fun, the first deal. And now he's got another deal. And he said, by his own admission, it was out of his comfort zone more than $1 million. And now this other deal that's been referred to him, referred from the happy seller that has deferred the payment, got a fucking $1, and now this deal is $3.5 million or whatever the other deal is.
Well, what if she dies?
Well, I mean, more importantly, what if Chris dies?
Okay.
She gets the property back.
Yeah.
So then she's got to go find somebody else. But if she dies, it depends. Does she have a will? And this is also in your stuff. You want them to have a will. And this can be a touchy subject, but you want them to have a will so they don't die intestate. And then everything goes in probate. Because that's when their kids all of a sudden stick their nose in it. Yep. And all of a sudden, because they see money, this is when we didn't know Mom did that. And so then they want the payments coming to them. And that does happen.
So do you want a copy of the will?
No. Just like you don't care if they refinance it in 5 years.
Okay.
Just find somebody that'll fuck you. That's it. Just find somebody you can put for the guys. Just find some place to put your willy. That's it. Forget all the rest. Doesn't matter, you refinance, the world could end in 2 months. I mean, don't worry about it. Get your dick wet today. You know those signs, Uncle Sam wants you now, get your willy wet today. All the rest is bullshit.
Yeah, the perfect rest for that.
Yeah. Get your willy wetted today. Oh, shit. Okay. Before we get to the last part, I want to open it up to questions. You know how just before you come, well, we're getting to that part right now. We're getting to that part. But before we get there, I want to make sure all the questions are answered, and it's all right to ask me to explain debt and equity again. But don't ask me at fucking dinner. Don't ask me over cocktails, hors d'oeuvres, and canapes. Don't ask me that. Don't take me aside, because 3 or 4 of you have taken me aside to have a quiet word already, Ask in front of the group, and then they don't ask in front of the group, okay? But so if you don't understand the difference between fucking debt and equity, ask me now, or forever hold your peace. But I will get some weekly reports. I'm sure this group is more sophisticated, but I will get some weekly reports where in the gigs. How many gigs do they get now? Just 16. Okay. Where is the section on debt and equity? Somebody will ask. Okay. Amber? Don't be catching flies back there, Amber. Okay. But you get 16, and that plus the website, plus all the online stuff is about another 17 or so gigs. Okay. Bye, YouTube.